Most people want to be rich, but only a few ever think like millionaires. Here's the difference. The Millionaire Mind. Thomas J. Stanley, Ph.D. Contents. Tables. Acknowledgements. 1. An introduction to the Millionaire Mind. 2. Success factors. 3. School days. 4. The relationship between courage and wealth. 5. Vocation, vocation, vocation. 6. Choice of spouse. 7. The economically productive household. 8. The home. 9. The lifestyles of millionaires, real versus imagined. 10. A final note about the Millionaire Mind. Appendix 1. In search of the balance sheet affluent. Appendix 2. Businesses owned and managed by millionaires. National geodemographically based sample. Appendix 3. Businesses owned and managed by millionaires, ad hoc sample. Tables. 1-to-1 the academic record of millionaires, undergraduate college grade. Point average, GPA, and SAT score. 2-to-1 millionaires success factors. 2-to-2 millionaires success factors. Superior intellect versus social skills. 2-to-3 millionaires success factors. Superior intellect versus orientation. Toward critics. 2-to-4 millionaires success factors. Superior intellect vs. integrity or completeness. 2-to-5 millionaires success factors. Superior intellect versus creative. Intelligence. 2-to-6 millionaires success factors. Stock market investing versus one's own business. 2-to-7 the investments of millionaires. Publicly traded stock versus other financial assets. 2-to-8 stockbrokers versus other high-income producing occupational groups. Who has more wealth? 2-to-9 millionaires success factors. Happenstance versus the elements of discipline. 3-to-1 enhancing self-discipline and discernment. School and college. Experiences that influenced millionaires in becoming economically productive adults. 3-to-2 millionaire. How do you think your high school teachers judged or evaluated you? 3-to-3 forging tenacity. School and college experiences that influenced millionaires in becoming economically productive adult. 3-to-4 correlation coefficients. SAT score, class rank, and grade. Performance versus net worth and income. 3-to-5 factors explaining economic success. Millionaires with SAT scores under 1,000 versus 1,400 or higher. 3-to-6 how their high school teachers likely judge them. Millionaires with SAT scores under 1,000 versus 1,400 or higher. 3-to-7 school and college experiences that influenced millionaires in becoming economically productive adults. Those with SAT scores under 1,000 versus 1,400 or higher. 4-to-1 actions and thought processes used by millionaires to eliminate and reduce fears and worries. 4-to-2 actions and thought processes used by millionaires to eliminate or reduce fears and worries grouped by domains. 4-to-3 taking financial risk versus playing the lottery. Correlates of wealth. 4-to-4 the patronage habits of multimillionaires, investment advisors and other service providers. 4-to-5 critical success factors according to self-designated risk takers versus non-risk takers. 5-to-1 how millionaires select a vocation. Important discovery factors. 5-to-2 how millionaires select a vocation. Important choice factors. 6-to-1 the top 5 qualities of a spouse that contributed to millionaires' successful marriages. 6-to-2 the top 5 qualities that initially interested millionaires in their spouses. 6-to-3 males versus females. Important qualities of spouse that contributed to their successful marriage. 6-to-4 males versus females. Important qualities that initially interested millionaires in their spouses. 7-to-1 actions taken by millionaires to reduce the cost or enhance the productivity of operating a household. 7-to-2 economically productive versus non-productive households. Actions taken by millionaires to reduce the cost, enhance the productivity of operating a household. 7-to-3 actions taken in the process of purchasing a home. Millionaires from economically productive versus non-productive households. 8-to-1 year of purchase of current home. 8-to-2 the millionaire home. Original price paid for home versus current value. 8-to-3 the millionaire home. Year of construction. 8-to-4 the millionaire home. the number of bedrooms and full baths. 8 to 5, the millionaire home, outstanding mortgage balance. 8 to 6, actions taken, the process of purchasing a home. 8 to 7, actions taken in the process of purchasing a home. Mr. Green vs. Mr. Blue. 8 to 8, the homes of millionaires in America. Average value by net worth. 8 to 9, selected average annual expenditures and characteristics. Households with incomes of $90,000 and over and those with less than $90,000. 9 to 1, lifestyle activities of millionaires. A 30-day diary. 9 to 2, categories of lifestyle activities of millionaires. A 30-day diary. 9 to 3, cheap date versus costly activities. The realities of the lifestyles of the millionaire's monthly diary. 9 to 4, lifestyle activities of millionaires. A 12-month diary. 9 to 5, lifestyle activities of millionaires. A 12-month diary grouped by domains. 9 to 6, a date with a tax expert and fundraising versus the Tonia. Activities. The realities of the millionaire's 12-month diary. Acknowledgements. Most importantly, I acknowledge my wife, Janet, for her guidance, patience, assistance, and unselfish support for this project. Without Janet, this book would never have been written. I greatly appreciate the contributions of my children, Sarah and Brad, in their roles as research assistants for this project. Sarah did all of the computer analysis for the ad hoc survey. Brad participated in the coding and tabulating processes of this data. A very special thank you is in order to my editor, Christine Schillig. She is a total professional with a very keen eye for the critical concepts. Chris sets a very high standard for excellence in editing. I also appreciate the many contributions made by Tom Thornton, president of Andrews McMeel Publishing. His continuing interest in the Millionaire Mind throughout its development was a great source of encouragement. It is with great pleasure that I acknowledge the significant contribution made by the Survey Research Center, Institute for Behavioral Research, University of Georgia in collecting and tabulating the geo-based survey data for this book. Special praises are in order for Dr. James J. Basin, Director of the Survey Research Center, and for their fine efforts of his staff, specifically Linda J. White, Kathleen J. Schinholzer, Zelda R. McDowell, Mary and Morney, and Cindy Burrows. A special thank you is accorded to Beth Day for her assistance in conducting several of the interviews for the case studies. I am indebted to Bill Marions of Troutman Sanders for his extraordinary expertise in representing me. Acknowledged also are the fine efforts of Ruth Tiller in Word processing several versions of the manuscript, David Napick for his excellent job of number crunching, and Art Gifford for his efforts in computing untold present values and sorting out the maze of economic opportunities. I am deeply grateful to Dr. Molly S. Yelnats for her sage advice, encouragement, and support throughout this undertaking. 1. An introduction to the Millionaire Mind. T. They live in lovely homes located in fine neighborhoods. Balance is their approach to life. They are financially independent, yet they enjoy life. They are not all work, no play type of people. Most became millionaires in one generation. Neither their lifestyle nor their wealth was generated from being highly leveraged financially. They are not credit junkies. How did they accomplish this? How did they balance their need to become wealthy and economically productive with their need to enjoy life? They have the millionaire mind. Early in my career of studying wealthy people, I had a glimpse of this segment of the millionaire population. In 1983, I was asked to interview 60 millionaires from Oklahoma. What I learned from them was simple. Yet the message had a lasting impact on me. You cannot enjoy life if you are addicted to consumption and the use of credit. These Oklahoma millionaires were just the opposite, as demonstrated by one focus group of 10. All 10 were seasoned business owners, executives, or professionals. All were first-generation wealthy. Some were credit dependent earlier in their careers, but they eventually saw the light. They went cold turkey, breaking the cycle of borrowing to consume, earning to consume, and borrowing more and more money. Others never became addicted to credit or the need to display their success. All 10 were multimillionaires. They lived in fine homes in well-established, older neighborhoods. They drove American-made motor vehicles. They enjoyed life. They were not workaholics. They spent a lot of time with their families and friends, borrowed little money, and became wealthy, in most cases, before they were 45 years old. My interview with this group was scheduled to last about 2 hours, but it actually went on for nearly 4 hours. I only had to ask a few questions. The members enjoyed telling their own stories about becoming wealthy. If there were a focus group hall of fame, all 10 of these millionaires would be inducted during the first round. There were many important points made about how one can become an economic success, but one statement was riveting. It was made by Gene. He mentioned that those who are credit dependent are in fact controlled by someone else, some institution. Gene was in his late 40s at the time. He listed his occupation as owner of a salvage business. He purchased or salvaged real estate from various financial institutions. These institutions have loans that are in default 6 months or more. Just a few weeks prior to the interview, Gene salvaged 68 homes, a commercial shopping center, and 5 multifamily apartment complexes from a financial institution with which he'd had many previous dealings. Immediately after the deal was signed, the senior credit officer of the institution signaled to Gene and walked with him over to the large window in the officer's top-floor office. It was a tall building. They could see for miles and miles. There were thousands upon thousands of commercial buildings all around. Gene could even see some of the residential neighborhoods on the horizon. As he looked out the window, the officer pointed to all the buildings, homes, offices, garages, shops, and so on, and said the words that made a lasting impression on Gene. We, the lenders, own it all of it. The business out there. You, borrowers, just run these businesses for us. You guys run them for us. They're financial institutions. How many people today in America run their businesses, their professional practices, but actually work for or are being controlled by lenders? How many live in luxury homes yet work hard to make payments to the ultimate owner of the mortgage? How many people take care of autos they lease from the real owner? Too many. But Gene is not among them, nor were any of the other members of his focus group. All possessed the millionaire mind. None had a private credit officer doling out cash. All lived in fine homes, but not one had a jumbo mortgage. The lesson I learned from Gene was repeated many times over by the millionaires surveyed for this book. They all have the millionaire mind, yet they believe it's possible to enjoy life and still become wealthy. They believe that financial independence and much economic success can be achieved without adopting a Spartan lifestyle. But there must be certain constraints, as discussed later in this book. Some people are not controlled by credit institutions. For them it is just the opposite. They are controlled by greed. They are misers. They even shortchange their spouses and children. Money is their god. These people are not of the millionaire mind. Another millionaire who has the proper perspective said, I taught my sons and daughters that money is not their god. You control it, not let it control you. Most of the people profiled in this book became economic successes in one generation. They came from economic ground zero. Most inherited no money. They never received the proceeds of an estate or income from a trust account. How did they do it? Again, they are of the millionaire mind. You may never be able to generate the sizable incomes that many of these millionaires have earned. You may not become a multimillionaire in a few short years, but you can still benefit from understanding how these people maintained an enjoyable lifestyle at the same time they were accumulating wealth. Only a few people, even those with high incomes, know how this can be accomplished. Those with the millionaire mind know how, and they are profiled in this book. The research conducted for my earlier book, The Millionaire Next Door, and the results reported therein have expanded the knowledge about the characteristics of America's most affluent people. I decided to broaden the size and scope of my next study to include many more participants. from a significantly wealthier population base. The new survey also focused on a different set of attributes and lifestyles, designed to project a deeper, more comprehensive look at the millionaire mind. The results of that study are presented in the following chapters. It is a lot easier to profile the characteristics of people who have the millionaire mind than it is to find them. Why not survey all the households in America? Because only about 4.9% of the households in this country have a net worth of $1 million or more. Nor can you just survey all the people who live in expensive homes. Often, these big homeowners are what I call income statement affluent. They have big incomes, big homes, big debt, but little net worth. They are experts at preparing loan applications, most of which do not ask about one's real level of net worth. In sharp contrast, there are those whom I call balance sheet affluent. These people are of the millionaire mind. They focus upon accumulating wealth. Their assets greatly exceed their credit liabilities. Often they have little or no outstanding credit balances. If I surveyed people who live in fine homes nationwide, what would I find? Too many income statement affluent respondents. Yet I always believed that certain types of neighborhoods attract the balance sheet variety and retain those with the millionaire mind, and these same neighborhoods might be unattractive to the income statement affluent. My hypothesis was confirmed by the results of the survey conducted for this book. In order to help develop a representative sample of people with millionaire minds, the balance sheet affluent, I sought advice from my friend and associate John Robin. He is the foremost authority on geodemography, the term used to describe the study of the characteristics of people within defined geographic areas. Often these areas are at the zip code level, but for my survey I wanted to get down to an even smaller level, neighborhoods or block groups. Some of these neighborhoods had fewer than 50 households. I told John about my problem, and he solved it in short order. John is a Harvard-trained mathematician and a brilliant researcher, and his geodemographic database is also extraordinary. He developed a sophisticated mathematical model that estimates the net worth characteristics for most block groups and neighborhoods in America. John found that some neighborhoods have high concentrations of people who have substantial investment income and thus would have the millionaire mindset. From his national database of 226,399 neighborhoods, John selected 2,487. His mathematical model predicted that these would contain high concentrations of people who were actually wealthy, as opposed to those who had big homes with big mortgages but low net worth. A national sample was generated by randomly selecting 5,063 households from those neighborhoods. 1 each household selected was sent a questionnaire. Of the 1,001 fully completed responses, 733 were from millionaires. Each had a net worth of $1 million or more. This national survey of 733 millionaires provided much of the empirical base for this book. Most of the respondents lived in old, well-established, upper-middle-class neighborhoods, in homes built in the 1950s or even in the 1940s or earlier. What? No homes with 5 jacuzzis? What? No flashy new subdivisions or newly developed suburban estates? Could it be that those with the millionaire mindset are not trendy when it comes to selecting homes and neighborhoods? It seems that's the case. Plus, most of the respondents had either small outstanding balances on their home mortgages or no mortgages at all. The methodology of how each respondent was selected on a random basis was described earlier in an article. See Thomas J. Stanley and Murphy A. Sewell, The Response of Affluent Consumers to Mall Surveys, Journal of Advertising Research, June-July 1986, pp. 55-58. The 9-page questionnaire completed by each respondent contained 277 questions. This project was the most comprehensive I have undertaken. The survey data were collected and tabulated by one of the premier survey organizations in America, the Survey Research Center, Institute for Behavioral Research, University of Georgia in Athens. 2 The center also did the univariate and multivariate computer analyses of the data. Earlier, The questionnaire and survey methodology were pre-tested on an ad hoc sample of 638 millionaires. All had income statements and balance sheet characteristics that would qualify them for jumbo mortgages. This pre-test survey was conducted by the author and his staff. In addition, important case studies were developed from a series of personal interviews and focus groups. These cases are detailed throughout the book, and they provide an important piece of the puzzle. For it isn't easy to develop a full understanding of the millionaire mind. The results summarized in this book are intended to help people develop an understanding and appreciation of the meaning of a balanced lifestyle.
Wait for next part.
You're watching The Rock Channel. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and press the bell icon for updates.